So you already mentioned this before. The first performance that you did as a conductor, it was the opera that you mentioned?
So the backstory is, I guess it sort of was, my gateway. I did lead ensembles before, but never, with this feeling of, hey, I'm actually conducting. But I played, trumpet, piano. I composed, in high school, and I wrote several musicals for the high school performances.
Oh, wow.
So but I would obviously be the designated leader for that. But I didn't consider it conducting, even though I was kind of leading the band. A group of ensembles, and we did, Kurt Weill, three penny opera and things like that. But I think that sort of the first experience, to lead a group that was sort of this proper orchestra, if you will, and singers, and having a lot of these rehearsals. That was, the first time was quite late. I was in college,
Gotcha. You said you wrote musicals?
Yeah. I studied composition. In fact, I did the Tanglewood Institute, the BUTI Tanglewood Institute program as a composer. I mean, I was just excited to do it. I was dabbling with it. I never thought, hey, I want to be a professional composer. But at the time, you tried it out, and I liked experimenting with things, and was still playing a lot, trumpet and other things. But that was the summer. I think it was actually '96, where Tanglewood. That was sort of my experience as a young 17-year-old to be there and really take it all in, understand, not as a little boy, but as someone who was actively now listening and learning. And Ozal was doing the 50th anniversary of Peter Grimes, and then I met John Williams for the first time, and all these kinds of things, and so that was a huge impression on me. But I did that program as a composer.
Cool. I'm curious, what was your first musical about? Do you remember?
It was called A Femme. It was in German, because I went to a German school, the German school in New York, and it had riots and demonstrations against the establishment. It was based on material. The lyrics, the libretto was written by a classmate, actually a guy who was just a couple of years above, and became a writer and journalist now. But he wrote this material based on the 1968 movement in Germany, and obviously the world was going through stuff. And so this is the story about the protagonist who, he wants to fight against the establishment, and then you have a glimpse, the second act is basically he's become the establishment, and now this whole journey of remembering, hey, what were my ideals and all of that. So, very, very youthful, and we had a whole scene where I remember vividly, we had the barricade blues. I wrote a barricade blues where people were throwing, things at the audience, and then the audience started throwing back. It was really this face-off, totally improvised, during the performance. But I thought, hey, this was probably the first interactive event that I witnessed, that I was part of. It's very funny.